Alright, so for our last video on 6.4 standard form, it's a level 3 question. This is where they give you the least amount of information and you have to kind of work from there. So if they give you 2 points, okay, and they're asking you to change it into standard form, well, there's a couple steps that you need to do in between. Alright, so I'll write them over here this first time around. So the first thing you want to do is to find a slope. And all you need is 2 points to find a slope, and that happens to be the information they gave us. So I'm going to go ahead and find my slope using my formula. I'm going to go 3 minus 2, 3 minus the 2, and I'm going to go negative 4 minus a negative 5. Negative 4 minus the negative 5. Alright, and so here I'm going to get, let's see, these turn to plus, so I get 3 minus 2, which is 1. Negative 4 plus 5 is going to give me positive 1. So my slope is 1. Alright, at this point I could use either point. But I'm going to put it into point slope form. Okay, so I'll show you. I'll use both of them one at a time. You could just choose one or the other. But let's go this way. We're going to go y minus 2. I'm using this point over here equals my slope minus or times the quantity x minus my x value. Over here, let's use it the other way. Y minus 3 equals my slope x minus a negative 4. And so minus a negative turns into plus, Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute so that I can get this, distribute and move some things around so I can eventually get into slope intercept form. And so I'll show you what that looks like. Distribute y minus 2 equals 1x plus 5. Over here I'm going to get y minus 3 equals 1x plus 4. At this point, if I add 2 to both sides on this example or add 3 to both sides on this example, I'm going to get y equals x plus 7. Over here, you're going to notice you get the same exact thing. And so that's how you know you got that right. It should be the same thing. The last thing I would need to do is to put it into standard form. In this particular instance, all I have to do is subtract my x. I'm just going to move that term with the x over to the other side. And I get negative x positive y, that's on the left hand side here, equals, that crosses out, 7. And that's standard form. If I would have done the same thing on the other one, I'm going to get the same exact answer. Okay, so it goes to show you that you can find the slope and then you can use either point, you'll arrive at the same answer. Here's a second example. Again, feel free to pause this video and try it out on your own first. Okay, I'm going to go through steps here. I need to find my slope. So let's just go easy here. I'll just do one way. 6 minus a negative 5, 10 minus a negative 12. Okay, the minus and negatives turn into plus, so I end up with 11 over, looks like 22, which I can reduce to 1/2. So there's my slope. I'm going to use either one of these points. Let's just say I use this top one. Y minus 6 equals 1/2 times the quantity x minus 10. Okay, so that is in point slope form. Next, I'm going to get it to slope intercept form by just distributing. I get y minus 6 equals 1/2 times x, and then 1/2 of negative 10 is negative 5. I then would add 6 to both sides of the equation. I get y equals 1/2 x plus 1. So there's slope intercept form. That's step 3. My last step is to put into standard form, which means I need to subtract 1/2 x on both sides. Now I use this example to show you this here. Okay, some of you might think, oh, I'm done, standard form, but I'm not just quite done yet. I have got a little bit of a problem. I'm not supposed to have a fraction as a coefficient. So what I can do is I can take this whole thing and make an equivalent equation. So if I multiply everything by 2, I'm going to choose 2 because that happens to be my common denominator, 2, 1, and 1. So multiply everything by 2, you're going to see what happens here. I'm going to get rid of that fraction. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1. 2 times y is 2y, and then 2 times 1 is 2. Now we've got standard form. Okay, so standard form basically says that you got to have x and y on one side. I don't want any fractions over here, so we take care of it just like that. All right, hopefully that helps out. If you have more questions, come to class ready with those.